Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Coop to Villa podcast. I'm Scott Cooper, and we are back with the boys. We got Noah from Melbourne, we got Troy from Brisbane, I'm from WA, and we are here to talk about the big news in the last 24 hours, which is Aston Villa hiring Steven Gerrard as their new head coach. And we will be talking about it after this. So yes, after Dean Smith's sacking on Sunday night, we were all waiting in expectation to see who might come in. We spoke about it on the last podcast. We had our preferences, and it seemed to all happen very quickly. Noah, Thursday rolled around, and the guy that the press that was all talking about, the number one sort of target, it seemed, was all done. Steven Gerrard, Aston Villa manager. Your thoughts?
Well, it all happened really quickly, as you said. I think, I came down to a few options like Martinez and Gerrard, and then the next day it was Gerrard would be manager within the next day. So it happened really quickly. Obviously, I think it's big news. He's a big figure in English football in general. And obviously, I'm going to back him to the houses. He's in the Villa dugout no matter what. So, yeah, I'm kind of, it's like mixed emotion. I'm kind of still sad for Dean Smith. I think a lot of Villa fans are in the same boat, but, it's a new era and we move on.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it does feel a bit weird, going into the game against Brighton without Dean Smith as the manager. But like you said, it's happened now. I'm going to get behind him. And Troy, what was your reaction when you found out that Gerrard was the new manager?
Well, 5 days earlier than I called it, and I thought I called it pretty quick. So you guys were right. He was brought in on the double, and obviously, what we were talking about in the last podcast, at the stage where they're talking to a manager or getting him on board, they had his signature already on the piece of paper, I reckon. Look, I've been up and down like a manic depressive on a roller coaster about this over the last couple of days, and you know what? I've been reading online people who the hatred that's pouring out from, I reckon, 5% of people is just. I mean, there's some people. It's they've reacted to him like they've asked, like someone's asked them to suck on a stick of uranium covered in dog shit. No, I think that's a slight overreaction. Come on, give the guy a break.
Yeah.
I've come down. I've been up and down on this over the last couple of days, and I've decided that I'm for it. I've got a feeling it's going to be like an episode of MasterChef where you see someone's forgotten to turn the oven and then he drops his cakes all over the floor. That could be Steven Gerrard in 6 months' time, we'll tell. But so far, I think I'm on board.
I love the analogy.
Yeah, I've never heard a stick of uranium covered in dog shit before, but yeah, you are right. There was a few people who out there on social media that weren't happy with the appointment. I mean, he wasn't my number one choice, but I think he was probably my second choice. Maybe I think he's a better option than maybe a Terry or a Lampard, or definitely like a Martinez. Something like that would have been, I think a step backwards, or at least, we wanted someone that actually gave us a reason to think that sacking Smith was the right thing to do. And I think, they lined him up early. They went for him. They've got him. And, so they've obviously had a plan in place, and it looks like some thought has gone into this. And he was probably spoken to, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, maybe. I know that's tapping up, but it's what happens, and yeah, so I'm all for it. I think if I had to say there's one thing that's really annoying me about it, it's I'm getting text messages from all my Liverpool mates saying, but I'm going to be watching now. Like, it's really interesting. I'm like, no, I don't want you watching. I don't care. Fuck off. Like,
yeah.
I don't like this sort of voyeurism that's going on with Liverpool fans that like where they're like cute little guinea pig now. Like that's the only thing that's really annoying me. I mean, but as Steven Gerrard as a manager and as a guy, he seems like he's got his head screwed on. He's of course was a great player. He's going to have that respect from the players, and as a manager, he's done a really good job. Not just winning the title in Rangers, which you could say isn't that big an achievement as it's a 2-horse race, but I think more impressive is what he's done in the Europa League, getting to the last 16 2 years. So that's not easy. I can't remember the last time any Rangers side, had a run in Europe like that. So I think that's really impressive. The more I've been learning about Gerrard, the more I like, especially his backroom staff. And have you heard much about them, Noah? Michael Beale, especially.
I haven't heard too much. Obviously, I think all Villa fans will know Gary McAllister. I think that his name. Yeah, so he was with Gerard Houllier that back in those days. I haven't heard too much about it. Obviously, I think the only position that's might be got a person might be hanging around from Villa is Neil Cutler. Apparently, that Gerrard likes him as a goalkeeping coach, and apparently he didn't like his other one. So I think Cutler will be hanging around, and Cutler's big for us. I think he's a really good coach in general. And I think we might be saying goodbye to the long-haired, bearded lady that Troy loves so much. I think I don't know if it's true, but I think Gerrard has his own set piece coach.
Right.
But what you were touching, I think what Gerrard did as a manager, he took a struggling, in my opinion, Rangers side and built them into. They beat the team that hadn't lost the league in 9 years or something.
Yep. So
I think it's a pretty big achievement. And Rangers are a big club, and I think it'll be a tough thing for Gerrard to do. But the difference, in my opinion, is in the league. I think it's hard to knock down the Premier League job than the Scottish Premier League job, sadly. But yeah, I think he did a great job in Europe.
Yeah, definitely. And I think when you look at what Rangers did, they went the whole season unbeaten. I think they had a goal difference of like plus 79, and they only conceded. It wasn't many goals. It was in the teens or something. It was like 17 or goals, something like that in the whole season. And that's exactly what we need. We need someone to come in, fix the defense straight, first of all. And I mean, I'm not just talking about the back five. I'm talking about the whole team defending, because we've been conceding goals. The midfields look like a sieve. People have just been going through it quicker than Paris Hilton. So, we really need someone to come in and just sort that out and hopefully pick up some points and some wins along the way.
If there's anyone to get a tune out of the midfielders, I think it has to be Steven Gerrard. Imagine you're Jacob Ramsey or you're Carney Chukwuemeka and you have Steven Gerrard as your coach.
Yes.
You're going to pick his brain every day. Why not? And obviously, I think Gerrard is obviously with the comment on the Villa Instagram, I think he's going to be quite impressive. Ramsey, I think he's someone who's going to try to develop a lot. And I think this could be big for Carney re-signing for the club. I think he'll get a good opportunity under Gerrard.
Well, yeah, I really hope that happens. And yeah, I agree with you. I think it will. I'm really looking forward to what he does with John McGinn. I'm really looking forward to what he does, like you said, with Ramsey and these guys.
He'll be able to understand John McGinn.
Well, there you go. Yeah. And I saw someone say we've taken the best two things from the Scottish Premier League in John McGinn and Steven Gerrard. So, no, it is exciting. I mean, I don't know if he's going to be a success, but yeah, it is exciting. Troy, do you think, Brighton, Crystal Palace coming up, do you think we're going to get that manager boost, that sort of jump in confidence?
The dead cat bounce.
Yes.
Very possibly. I just think if he gets the basic formation right and G's the people, G's the team up, I think we could get results. But just rewinding to a couple of things you said. First of all, Scotty, Paris Hilton has more expensive lawyers than you, so you want to watch that with the coach he's bringing. I've just been trolling a couple of Scottish forums, and
of course you have.
So Gerrard's more of a bit of a figurehead, a man motivator. He'll drive the midfielder, but this coach absorbs tactics. He gets to the training ground at 7 o'clock in the morning, gets home at 7 o'clock at night, switches on Argentinian and Brazilian television, and just the guy's an encyclopedia. That's a good thing.
Yep.
for us, obviously. And talking about coaches, what will be very interesting is when Dean Smith does pitch up, will William Shakespeare pitch up with him? I mentioned a couple of weeks, after the wheels fell off at Wolves, with their problems between the two. And I think if they go their separate ways, maybe there was. But look, back to Gerrard and Dan Bardell had an excellent podcast the other day, and he had a guy on there that was really couldn't fault him except for the cup games. He said Gerrard didn't perform well in the domestic cups. A bit disappointed with that, but he said he took over a team that was in an absolute shit state.
Yep.
And he really couldn't. He couldn't really exaggerate that enough. It was a mess. So, and what I've been struggling with over the last 24 hours, well, in fact, probably since Steven Gerrard was rumoured, is my first reaction was no. And now, well, why? Why am I thinking no? Okay, objectively, he was a brilliant footballer. I don't think you'll have anybody in the world to say that he wasn't a brilliant midfielder. One of the best, if not the best of his generation. Took over. I mean, he's been under a lot of managers, good quality managers throughout his career, international and domestic. He coached the youngsters at Liverpool. He took over an absolute disaster of a football club. So he knows how to rebuild from rubble. And that's an important thing. We're nowhere near that state of rubbleness, but we do need a little bit of rebuilding. He plays similar tactics to what Dean Smith started the season with. He can manage players. He can motivate people. He obviously knows how to put the right people around him. This is exactly what we want. So why is it that I didn't like him? And the only conclusion I can come up with isn't the lack of experience. I think it's a missing link. And had he gone from Celtic to one of the top teams in Europe, in France and Italy, in Spain and Germany, and he made a success out of a mediocre side, got them into the top 4 and 6, and then came to Villa, I mean, everyone would be shouting his name from the rooftops. This is the man. Because he didn't take that step, I think that's what people are upset about. He's got to prove himself at Villa. And the fact is, if he doesn't, that's it. His managerial career is... I think he's sunk. I don't think he'll be ever heard from again.
Well, I was a bit worried about that too. I was like, he's only had one job. Can we really, sort of say he's a quality manager yet? But then I heard Jamie Carragher talking about it, and what he said was really impressed me and got me excited, because he said, "Look, Steven Gerrard knows that if he doesn't do a good job at Villa, he's not getting the Liverpool job. So this kind of theory that it's just a stepping stone and it's bound to happen." He said Steve could have stayed at Rangers, maybe won a couple more titles, and then gone to Liverpool, and that would have been probably the easy way to do it. But he said no, he wanted to test himself, and he wanted to, give himself a real challenge and a rebuilding job. And that when I heard that, I was like, that's what we need, because the reason I wanted Fonseca is because out of the names mentioned, I know that he rebuilt Roma, he rebuilt Shakhtar, and he's really good at that project sort of style, and that's the sort of manager we needed. But the more and more I've been sort of looking into what Gerrard's done at Rangers, he stripped that whole club apart. And he went through it with a fine, needle, and just went, all right, I'm changing this, I'm changing this, I'm changing this. And I've heard him talk about it a few times as well on a few interviews I've heard. And he said, we put everything in position for the players to have no excuses. And then I was like, right, that's our whole thesis. No excuses. I'm going to give you everything you need to perform on the weekend. And if you don't, we've got no excuses. And I really liked that when I heard it. So yeah.
No, I agree. Very similar to me. I think I was the same as you, Troy. I just think he was missing that one job in between Villa and Rangers. Because again, I was kind of a little bit iffy on it. Is he the right guy for us? But I think you really hit the nail on the head there, like with what you said. I think it's that one job in between doing that. But I have to say, the last manager to come from the Scottish Premier League to the Premier League has turned out pretty well in Brendan Rodgers with Leicester. So if that's anything, we can take from that, and hopefully Gerrard can be very successful for us.
Yeah, it's a case with every positive. There's an equal negatives. It's like Newton's law here. It's, people sort of say, well, on the one hand, he absolutely destroyed the league in Scotland. On the other hand, the other team was a crap team, run by John Lennon, who died outside of a New York hotel in 1963. But you can only beat what's put in front of you. Do you know what I mean? He missed that. He missed that vital step of going to another club. But then, could he be tainted? Could his confidence be destroyed? Is he learning bad habits at another club? Going back to what you said earlier, Scotty, with your Liverpool mates, here's a classic positive and negative scenario, in that for the foreseeable future, we're going to be known as Stevie G's Aston Villa.
Yeah,
I have no interest in that whatsoever.
No,
but and here's the good side of that. For all the marketing and all the goodwill that Jack Grealish gave us, and then we lost, we've got that back plus another 50%, I reckon. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Like everywhere today, even like at the game I was at, this the FFA Cup game, people were talking about it, walking past me, people were talking about it. These people would never talk about Aston Villa, normally anyway, but it's everywhere. On the news, like talking on the sports report, they're talking about Aston Villa here. And that's a big thing, that's probably why Man City signed Jack Grealish with the marketing. He's the face of England. We've signed a very big figure, and everyone's talking about Aston Villa right now.
Yeah, I mean, I just hope that and I'm pretty sure he'll, respect the club. And, I mean, like, I've heard people saying, like, when Gerrard Houllier was our manager and he touched the sign that, like, this is Anfield, when we went there, people didn't like that and that sort of thing. And yeah, I mean, it is a bit of a worry having someone that's such a figure at one club and a rival club, but
it doesn't annoy me though, Scotty, because you play Anfield once per year and you're going to ride off their managerial career off one thing they do because they touched a sign at a stadium.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with that.
Neither do I, but I'm saying like fans can't just say because he's associated with Liverpool and he touched the Anfield sign, that they're not going to be all in it for Villa.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it bothers me. It's a bit weird with all these Liverpool fans saying, "Oh, Villa's my second team now." I'm just
that annoys me. I've had so many text messages today, all saying how it's a stepping stone. And I think in that Jamie Carragher interview again, he put it perfectly. I think he said something like, I think that guy asked him, he's like, that's just disrespectful to Aston Villa and Gerrard. So I'm not having a go at the guy interviewing him, but it's like, seriously, like, why does that have to be the question? Why can't people just say, he's got to be successful? But every time someone goes, oh, he's going to go to Liverpool, in my opinion, if he does well for Villa, he'll get the Liverpool job, and that's the only thing I'm going to know. So, or if Villa do well, he'll get the job.
Yeah, I mean, that's really chopped off to line his pockets with mountains of filthy Arab donkey dollars. Gerrard's going to leave if he's a success to go and manage the club that he played at that he loves. I don't have problems with him touching the sign. It's a piece of wood, for fuck's sake, or plastic or whatever the hell it's made of. You see players in the tunnel before the game shaking hands, high-fiving and chatting. Where's the difference? Who cares?
I think he'll be fully behind us and he'll be professional and he'll do exactly what he needs to do. And hopefully he can get the results and get the players motivated and, just fighting for the shirt and, get the crowd behind him and all that sort of thing. And, I'm excited. I think it's going to be good. I think that he'll keep us up comfortably. And then next year will be, where we can...
Next year's the year.
Yeah, when we can start... he can start building his own team, buy some players, and the system and all that will be ingrained in the players, and we can maybe look at that top sort of 7, and trying to get into Europe. But he's got a big job. It's not going to be easy, and if we lose to Brighton and Crystal Palace, then we got Liverpool and City. I think.
Liverpool, City, Leicester.
Yeah,
it's a tough run.
It could be a difficult start, but I think the manager, the owners have been very forward thinking. They've had a clear plan. They've executed it so far, and they brought in Dean Smith, and he did a great job. So I've got to back their judgment.
Yeah, I agree.
I think most people at the moment, not really overwhelmed, not really underwhelmed, so they're kind of stuck in the middle of whelmed And I think the next, if we lose the next two games, we stand a good chance of losing the two after that. So people will, the needle will shift towards more underwhelmed. If we get 4 points in the next two games, I think people will be happy.
So do I. But I'll say that atmosphere at Brighton is going to be electric.
Yeah,
it's going to be absolutely electric. Getting behind the boys, and that is one of the reasons I see us getting a positive result at Brighton. Is that Villa Park atmosphere is going to be spine tingling.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it now. I haven't felt like this about a game for a while. It's been kind of the same old shit for the last few weeks, and kind of where are we going? Like on the field, it looks like an absolute dog's breakfast, and hopefully he can just sort a few of those things out. If I can just see a few little changes and a few positive positive changes especially with the midfield, I think that will help Ollie Watkins and Ings and and hopefully
it'll be interesting to see if sick note Sanson is still sick for the next couple of weeks, won't it?
I think this is a big chance for him.
Yeah, could be.
It's a big chance for everyone. If you feel like you're on the outskirts and new manager comes in, you really got to train your hardest in the next couple of weeks, especially if you're not on international duties, because you have an extra week with the new gaffer.
Yeah,
that's it. And there's a lot of talk about his pressing game, which makes me think that he'll probably go with Buendia, not Leon Bailey. Bailey might come off the bench. There's also a big focus on his fullbacks, which makes me think that we're going to have to get some new fullbacks.
Yeah.
Well, left back. I mean,
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Who's the left back at Rangers? I can't remember his.
I
can't remember it.
I know the right back's Tavernier.
Tavernier. I forgot his name, but he's supposed to be quite good. And they get a lot of drive through those fullbacks.
I reckon we'll go for that Aaron Hickey bloke that used to be at Hearts, I think it was. And then he went to the Serie A, and we were linked with him a while ago. And I think now he'll come to Villa, in my opinion. And he's young; he's only like 18 or 19, but he is a really, really good fullback. But obviously, long time.
Yeah, I've seen a few of his like the highlights of the Serie A games, and he looks all right. So yeah.
But knowing us, we'll be bloody linked to, I don't know, Andrew Robertson. Who knows at this rate? We'll go on top notch.
Yeah, I mean, like, why not? Like Stevie G's there now, so we can get a few guys at Liverpool that aren't getting game time, or like when we had John Terry, we got a couple of Chelsea players, so maybe the same thing will happen here. But it's all up in the air. So it's just a bit of a quick video today, just to talk about the exciting news and looking forward now to Brighton. Unfortunately, it's the international break and it's boring as hell. No games this weekend.
I think it's fortunately this time, Scotty. For us.
Well, it's fortunate for us. You're right, but I just want to get to next Saturday now and
so do I.
see the game. Yeah.
I'm keen.
But
who are going to be, just quickly go around the table, who's going to be the biggest winners and the biggest losers in the team out of Gerrard coming in?
I think McGinn will be the biggest winner and Target will be the biggest loser.
I don't know. I think one of his big choices is going to be one of the two boys up front, in my opinion, either Watkins or Ings. I reckon he's going to have to make a big statement there. So I think one of those guys will be the biggest loser. Obviously, we don't have another fullback, so I don't see Target being the biggest loser there, but definitely McGinn. Definitely McGinn the biggest winner, in my opinion.
Yeah. I can't see someone like Gerrard, who was an absolute engine in the midfield, putting up with the kind of performance that Pussyhole Bailey put in the last game. So I think he could be sat on the bench for quite a while, unless he has the attitude that you've got to put in as much effort as defending as going forward. I got a suspicion that as massively different as he was a player to Gerrard, I think Buendia is going to be a big winner out of this. I've got a feeling we're finally going to see what he's made of, and hopefully, because I've been really looking forward to seeing him in extended run. Sanson, however it is.
Yeah, I really hope we see Morgan Sanson, because I know Tommy and I keep tooting his horn and we never get to see him play, but I just go off that first half against Chelsea in the Cup. And he was so good in that game. and then to go off injured again. I think this is a big opportunity for him.
And what's he going to do with the kids? Will we see Carney Chukwuemeka or Philodine Badace, or maybe he sees something in training that Smith didn't see in some of these guys. I could write probably 5 or 6 different 11s that could start against Brighton. It really could be anything. It's probably going to be 4-3-3. That seems to be his preferred formation. But apart from that, I think everything else is up in the air. So really looking forward to seeing what happens at training next week, and if there's any vision coming out of there. Seeing actually presented to the fans in his press conference. That's going to be interesting too. And really looking forward to seeing how we go against Brighton. But guys, please like and subscribe. Please comment. Let us know, what do you think of the Stevie G appointment? Was he your first choice, your second choice? Are you disappointed? Are you, like Troy said, are you underwhelmed, overwhelmed, or just whelmed? Let us know. Please like and subscribe. And we are planning on doing another video before the Brighton game. We've got a quiz lined up. That was going to be our next video until this news broke. So stay tuned for that. And guys, I will see you all then. Take it easy. Up the Villa.
Hang on, Tommy, if you're listening, don't be commenting Gerrard out in the comments.
He's probably lost in his car again, so leave him. All right. See you later, lads. Take it easy.
See you guys. Thanks, Scotty.